Today I am going to share with you how much meat you get when you purchase a half cow or a whole cow from your local farmer. Hey everyone, my name is Stephanie from the Farmhouse Mom, and today I am going to show you how much meat you actually get when you buy a cow or a half a cow from a farmer and then take it to a butcher shop to get it processed. I'm going to make this quick because I don't want all of my beef to thaw out. So I'm going to take you right away right now, and I'm going to show you all the different types of cuts of meat that you get. I'm going to tell you how much we got, how much it cost, and how much storage you might need to store either a full cow or a half a cow. I also will give you a couple of tips of where I think you can find a farmer where you can get beef straight from a farmer if you live in a bigger city. Okay, so this is 108 pounds of meat. This is the portion where we have all of our ground beef. This is going to be your organ meats, liver, there's a little bit of tongue, oxtail, that is that section. And then this section is all of your steaks. So we have sirloin steaks, ribeye steaks, porterhouse steaks, quite a few different types of delicious steak. And then this section kind of represents all of like your roast or your briskets. Kind of a visual of how much that would be, how many packages. And then this little section over here is stew meat. It is soup bones, a little bit of a round roast. So for all of this, this is 108 pounds of meat, and we paid $1,170. And that works out to be $10.79 a pound, equal among all of it. Obviously, $10.79 is going to be a little expensive for ground beef, but if you're looking at a porterhouse steak or a roast or any of those types of cuts, it's going to even out the cost just a little bit. All right, now that we have a visual, I'm going to go ahead and put all of this away and show you how much freezer space you need to hold a half a cow of beef. So we were able to fit all of our ground beef and some cuts of meat just in the top portion of just a standard size refrigerator. And then this is not even half full. We have this is not the fanciest in the world. We're just out in our garage. We have a really small, and I'll go get the size of it. And that's what it looks like next to a standard refrigerator. So it's one of those very small freezers. And that's what we have the rest of the meat in. So you can see that the freezer space required for buying a half a cow or a whole cow is really not as much as you might think. So our freezer out in the garage is 10 cubic feet, which is one of the smaller freezers that you can buy. And then combined with the freezer that we already have in our kitchen, we could fit an entire cow because we only have less than half used up with just the half of a cow. One of the major benefits in buying an entire cow or half a cow is the health benefits. It's going to be a higher quality of meat. So the ground beef that you're buying at a store, especially at a larger store like Sam's Club or Walmart, you could easily have over 1,000 different animals ground up, put in that one little pound of ground beef. But if you are buying one cow directly from a farmer, then you know that all of that ground beef just came from one cow. So you could see how you would have a higher quality of meat. Out of those 1,000 cows, you don't know what grade they would be, but if you're going and you're picking one cow from a trusted source, then you would know that this was a healthy cow, that it was fed right, it wasn't injected with a lot of hormones. And so not only would you get a higher quality of meat as far as like a porterhouse steak, you also would get a higher quality of meat because it's going to be a healthier cut of meat just based on what's in it, and then it's only coming from one cow. if that makes sense. If I lived in a bigger city and I didn't know any farmers, I would go to a farmer's market in a smaller town. I would look on Facebook Marketplace in a smaller town. And there's also a website that I found called eatwild.com that gives a map where you can find different farmers. I noticed on eatwild.com, which I'll leave that link below, they did have some high criteria for the farmers that were allowed to join and advertise on that website. We typically get our meat either from our next door neighbor. The cow that we got this year, we split with my sister, and that was from a family member on her in-laws side. If you're just looking for ground beef, you probably could get it cheaper than $10 a pound. If you're looking for a higher quality of meat and a healthier cut of meat, then I think purchasing directly from a farmer is the way to go. It's funny because when you are on a farm, you have an idea like, oh, it'd be cheaper to have your own chickens, or it would be cheaper to raise your own cow. It'd be cheaper to produce your own milk. And oftentimes it may not be cheaper. It might be cheaper just to go to Walmart or Sam's Club and buy it there. The main benefit of having your own homestead and purchasing direct from farmers is you can bet that it's going to be healthier for you. And for me, that is the appeal of raising your own food, buying from neighbors. It is going to be healthier, and you know where it comes from, and hopefully it's a reduced level of antibiotics and processing. Another avenue that you might be able to find a farmer if you don't know one is you could call a local butcher shop. One caution that I would give you is I would look at reviews for a butcher shop and make sure that they have a good reputation. And I think most butcher shops are very reputable, but you want to make sure that the animal that is turned into the butcher shop is the animal that you get back. You certainly want to do your due diligence, and you want to make sure that you have a reputable butcher, that you are not turning in an animal and then maybe they're giving you a lower quality of animal than the one that you actually turned in.
So after I finished filming the part where we weighed all the meat, we got on the scale ourselves to see how much we weighed, because I don't have a scale inside the house, but I do have that animal scale that I weigh my goats with. And the scale started fluctuating wildly. So it started fluctuating like 10 pounds when we would get on and off. So we may have gotten a little bit more beef than I was able to weigh on that kind of wonky scale. We may have got, 130 or 140 pounds, but visually you get an idea of kind of how much you get for half a cow. And just to further explain how the weight of a cow is broken down, what you're actually buying, you're going to buy a live weight. And when I looked at the video that I made last year, that gave me a live weight of about 1,000 pounds. And then after they take off the head, the hooves, and, the hide, the organs, all of that kind of external stuff, after they take that off, then that is called the hanging weight. And you generally can get around 50, maybe 60% of the hanging weight. And so that's what you're actually purchasing. So it'll start as a larger cow, and then there is the weight that after they kind of take off, like I said, they'll take off the head and the skin and all of that. That is going to be your hanging weight. And then when you start processing that, you get 50% of that hanging weight is what the actual end product is going to be. So hopefully that is some useful information for you if you've ever thought about purchasing a half cow or a whole cow from a farmer. I love having a freezer full of beef just for the convenience. I am in my kidding season right now. We're having baby goats, and so it's really thrown my schedule off where I don't have that set schedule every day. It can change at a moment's notice, and so it's so nice just to have some meat that I can go, even if it's totally frozen, and I can just throw it in my Instant Pot and I can have dinner ready pretty quickly within an hour or two. I also love having sourdough and my Bosch Universal Mixer. For this evening, I made some quick biscuits. I usually love long fermenting my sourdough. I'll make it the day before, but just like my frozen beef, I didn't have that ready. I didn't have my sourdough ready, but I threw my ingredients in my Bosch Universal Mixer and made just a quick biscuit recipe, and it was ready to go. And I was able to have a nice, beautiful, nutritious dinner for the family in just under 2 hours. Mealtimes are definitely a family-centered event in our house. It is so important for me to be able to cook something really nutritious for the kids as they are growing. I love being able to provide something for them that is going to help them be as healthy as possible. I also like involving them when it's time to set the table, and I set a formal table as often as I can. I think that the conversation skills and the family time is so much more important than anything else that can be provided. I was watching a podcast the other day, and it was saying up until 18 years old, the relationship with a parent should be the most important relationship that the child has. Over friends, over siblings, you really have that short amount of time. And as I'm older, I'm 49, almost 50, I really feel that time goes by so quickly, and it's just such an important time to spend with the kids, and I'm so blessed that I'm able to spend that time with my boys. I hope you have a great weekend, and I can't wait to see you guys Tuesday.